For those who love playing solo games on PlayStation 5, this list is for them. These are the single-player games that truly stand out, the ones that pull you into their worlds, tell great stories, and offer memorable gameplay from start to finish. Let's dive right in. Astro Bot on PS5 is a kind of game that instantly puts a smile on your face. Every level felt like walking into a mini theme park full of bright colors, creative ideas, and clever little surprises waiting around every corner. The DualSense made the experience even better. Every jump, splash, glide, and tiny movement felt alive in my hands. What I loved most was how the game constantly changed the way I played, giving me new abilities and fun mechanics that kept everything fresh. And with all the hidden secrets and playful PlayStation cameos, exploring never got old. It doesn't rely on a big story, it's just pure, joyful fun from start to finish, and one of the most charming single-player games I've played on PS5. Playing Assassin's Creed Shadows, I was struck by how real and alive feudal Japan felt. Moving through huge castles, quiet villages, and changing seasons made the world feel alive. Switching between Naoe and Yasuke kept the gameplay fresh, sneaking across rooftops, as Naoe and pulling off fast assassinations felt completely different from charging into battle as Yasuke with his powerful samurai weapons. I liked how the game let me approach missions however I wanted. Sometimes I went full stealth, sometimes I fought head-on, and both styles felt satisfying. The combat needed timing and focus, with dodges and parries that really mattered. Even the weather and seasons changed how I played. It blends stealth, action, and exploration in a way that made Japan a place I wanted to keep coming back to.
I have a debt to settle.
Bound by blood.
We will be unstoppable.
Playing Baldur's Gate 3 felt like jumping into a huge fantasy tabletop game, but with every choice actually mattering. I could handle situations in so many ways, climbing around enemies, sneaking past danger, using spells cleverly, or sometimes avoiding fights completely. The turn-based battles were fun because I had time to think and use the environment to my advantage. The character creator pulled me in right away, with endless options to shape the kind of hero I wanted to be. What surprised me most were the companions. They react to everything, have their own stories, and make the world feel alive. Everywhere I went, I found new secrets, new quests, and new outcomes based on my decisions. It's one of those games where the adventure truly feels like your own.
Bow before me. Bow before the absolute. Bow!
Borderlands 4 hit me like a loud, chaotic playground in the best way. The open world was a blast to explore, with grappling, gliding, and double jumping making movement fast and fun. The guns were gloriously weird and creative, and the boss fights and enemy types kept me constantly engaged. Building characters felt satisfying, encouraging me to try different playstyles. Playing with friends and chasing sweet loot turned the whole experience into a wild, addictive ride that I kept coming back to. Clair Obscur Expedition 33 is one of the most stunning and heartfelt RPGs I've ever experienced. The world of Lumiere feels warm and the story really hits hard as you lead the 33rd expedition to stop the Paintress, a being who erases people with a single brushstroke. What stood out to me the most was the combat. It mixes turn-based strategy with real-time parries, dodges, and elemental attacks, and every move feels meaningful. The game's art looks hand-painted, and the music adds so much emotion to every moment. It's one of the most unique and artistic RPGs I've played in years, and it left a strong impact on me.
Who are you?
Playing Death Stranding 2 honestly kept me on edge the whole time. Traveling through this wild, twisted version of Australia as Sam felt unpredictable. One moment I was walking peacefully, and the next I was struggling through a brutal sandstorm or trying to stay steady during an earthquake. The BTs are just as creepy as ever, and they show up when you least expect it. The gameplay feels smoother this time. Deliveries are faster, the combat is way better, and the new tools like stealth moves, upgraded vehicles, and even that blood boomerang make every encounter more exciting. The visuals are stunning, the story hits surprisingly hard, and the classic Kojima weirdness is everywhere. It's the kind of game that sticks in your mind long after you put the controller down. I felt like the series finally came back to life in Dynasty Warriors Origins. The battles are massive, way bigger than anything I'd seen before, and mowing down whole armies at once never stopped being satisfying. The combat is deeper too, with tons of weapon types, special moves, and skills that actually change how you fight. What surprised me most was the story. Following a new hero and seeing the early days of the Three Kingdoms from a fresh angle made the world feel new again. I loved building bonds with characters, replaying missions for different outcomes, and unlocking true endings. With beautiful maps, challenging fights, and a ton of replayability, Origins really reminded me why I fell in love with this series in the first place. Elden Ring grabbed me right away. No matter which way I went, I always ended up finding something surprising. As a tarnished wandering the lands between, I constantly found hidden caves, strange NPCs, and dangerous places that pulled me off the main path. The combat kept me hooked. Sometimes I went in with melee weapons. Other times I relied on magic, stealth, or fought on horseback, and each style felt completely different. What I loved most was the freedom. I could explore regions in any order and stumble into powerful weapons or terrifying bosses long before I was ready. The legacy dungeons were my favorite parts, huge, detailed areas full of traps, shortcuts, and tough enemies. Even though the game is challenging, every victory felt earned. It's one of those worlds I kept wanting to return to just to see what I'd missed. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth felt like a full cinematic journey, almost like I was playing through a movie with every scene packed with emotion and detail. Exploring the huge open areas, finding secrets, and taking on side quests made the world so much bigger than what I expected after Midgar. The combat was a blast. Switching between characters in the middle of a fight kept every battle fast, smooth, and full of strategy. The visuals are stunning, the voice acting is emotional, and the music hit me with so much nostalgia. From start to finish, Rebirth reminded me why this story is such a legendary part of gaming, especially on PS5. From the very beginning, the revenge story in Ghost of Yotei had me hooked. Playing as Atsu, chasing down the Yotei 6 felt personal, and every step through Izo's stunning landscapes made the journey hit even harder. One moment I was fighting across frozen mountains, and the next I was walking through bright, colorful fields that looked straight out of a painting. The combat was the real highlight for me. Switching between katanas, spears, and a chained sickle felt smooth and powerful, and adding pistols, smoke bombs, or fire attacks made every fight exciting. It's not trying to reinvent open worlds. It's all about delivering pure samurai vengeance with style, and it absolutely nails that feeling. Playing God of War Ragnarök felt like stepping back into a world I never wanted to leave. Kratos and Atreus' bond is stronger but more complicated, and watching them grow through war and loss hit me hard. The combat is as brutal and satisfying as ever. Every swing of the Leviathan axe and lash of the Blades of Chaos feels incredible. The new abilities, massive bosses, and gorgeous worlds make every moment feel memorable. It's more than an action game, it's an emotional cinematic adventure that shows Kratos' story still has real heart and strength. Every part of the world and gameplay feels polished and top quality. Playing Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 was a unique and refreshing experience. I loved the grounded, historical approach. The world is incredibly detailed, immersive, and full of atmosphere. Every system feels deep and thoughtfully crafted, creating a believable medieval sandbox where your choices and actions truly matter. Even without playing the first game, I found the characters intriguing, and the dynamic between Henry and Hans added personality to the journey. As I leveled up, completed side quests, and upgraded my gear, I appreciated how the game rewarded learning, patience, and skill. It's an ambitious RPG that delivers a richly authentic world and one of the most immersive medieval experiences I've played. Playing Metal Gear Solid Delta felt like playing the original again, just with smoother graphics and a fresh coat of paint. It's basically Metal Gear Solid 3 rebuilt almost exactly as it was, right down to the old-school level layouts, classic voice acting, and those unforgettable 1960s Cold War missions. The new graphics look great, but you can still feel the older game underneath the animations, the stiff controls, and the quirky enemy AI all return. It's not a bold remake, and it doesn't try to modernize much, but if you love the original like I did, this is a faithful trip back into one of the best stealth adventures ever made.
To heal that rift and make the world whole again. To do this, we need strength.
From the first hunt, Monster Hunter Wilds showed me just how much more exciting this entry is. The open areas are huge deserts, forests, mountains, and exploring them without any loading screens makes the world feel alive. Focus mode became one of my favorite additions, letting me lock onto weak spots and plan my hits instead of just swinging wildly. Every weapon feels satisfying, and having partners and mounts keeps the fights moving fast, even against the biggest monsters. The changing weather and dramatic landscapes make every hunt feel different. It's easily the most fun I've had in a Monster Hunter game yet. Ninja Gaiden 4 reminds me why I love fast, skill-based action games. The story didn't do much for me, and the new protagonist, Yakumo, felt pretty one-note, but the combat more than made up for it. Fights are brutally intense enemies rush you, punish mistakes, and force you to stay sharp every second. Yakumo's Blood-Raven form adds a whole new layer, letting you break guards, counter big attacks, and pull off some wild-looking moves. What impressed me most is how flexible the combat feels. Swapping weapons mid-combo, mastering new techniques, and pushing myself through challenge rooms kept the gameplay exciting for hours. The level design is plain and some bosses miss the mark, but the action is so good that kept me engaging. For pure combat, this is the most fun I've had in an action game in years.
Every part! I'll destroy it all!
Silent Hill F completely surprised me. I expected the new setting and melee combat to feel too far removed from classic Silent Hill, but once I started playing, it instantly attracted me. Exploring 1960s Ebisugaoka as Hinako is tense from the first minute. Every hallway, every room, every monster puts you on edge. The melee system takes some getting used to, but once it clicks, every dodge and hit feels stressful in the best way. The creature designs are some of the most disturbing I've seen in the series, and the dark shrine sections are genuinely unforgettable. The puzzles, the atmosphere, the storytelling, everything feels like true Silent Hill, just with a fresh and twisted spin. By the time I finished it, I was already ready to start a second run. Playing the first Berserker Khazan felt like being put through the school of hard knocks and loving every brutal lesson. The combat is tight, demanding, and full of satisfying counters and dodges. Once I learned the rhythm, fights felt deeply rewarding. The bosses are the real stars, clever, punishing, and endlessly replayable. I died more times than I can count, but every victory felt earned. The story and characters didn't grab me, and some systems felt needlessly fiddly, but if you want a game that rewards skill and patience, Khazan delivers in a big way. The Outer Worlds 2 felt like jumping back into a wild space adventure, but everything is bigger and funnier this time. I loved hopping between bizarre planets owned by greedy corporations. The new movement options, sliding, double jumping, and faster combat made every fight feel more energetic. The weapons are ridiculous in the best way, from shotguns that melt enemies to overpowered energy rifles. And the companions kept things entertaining with constant jokes, arguments, and surprisingly good advice. With deeper perks and flaws, I could shape my character exactly how I wanted. It's a louder, crazier, and more action-packed version of what made the first game great.
And more.